Well, I'll say congratulations on Jurassic World Rebirth. I'm a massive Jurassic fan. Like I saw the original probably far too young, I think, like a lot of people.
Right.
And one of the things that I love about your stories is that like you always gravitate towards stories where like humanity is dwarfed by something like creatures, technology, systems. I guess like what drew you to Jurassic World and how did you make this world feel new while like honoring its legacy?
Um, it's weird because if someone says to you like, "How do you bring your own voice to a Jurassic film?"
Yeah.
I'm like, I was desperately trying not to, but I was desperately trying to do my best impression of Steven Spielberg. Turns out Steven Spielberg's pretty damn good at what he does, and he's very hard to copy. And so when every time I fail, that's my voice just creeping in. And so like it happens anyway, like because you can't escape your own brain, right? And so there's stuff in there, and I'm sort of not aware of it when I'm doing it. I feel like what I was really trying to do was create a movie like the movies I'd grown up loving, like an early
Mm,
90s film or something.
mm,
And essentially it was like we wanted it to feel like Universal Studios had found an old reel of film on the shelf somewhere and dusted it off, and it said Jurassic World Rebirth, and they were like, we don't remember making this, you know what I mean? And it was like something they'd forgotten they'd done, and they're going to release it this year or something like that. I just wanted it to have all those qualities of that kind of filmmaking, and then inevitably you try and do that, but like half of it ends up like with a modern, fresh take, which I was also not trying to do. I was just trying to do a film like I loved back then, but I'm obviously not very good at it. So it's got those other qualities in there.
No, I mean it's watching it like it really brought me back to like the films that I grew up with because I guess it really had that sense of horror that I feel like a lot of quote unquote kids films or films that were aimed at families sort of had back then. Like they weren't afraid to
Yeah.
be a little bit scary, a little bit horror. And like with the original Jurassic Park, like it sort of walked that tightrope between wonder and fear. I guess like for you, did you have to like calibrate an emotional tone, especially with audiences, given how like desensitized to spectacle they are? Did you think of that at all?
Uh, you made it sound really smart. I didn't give it that much like intellect, but it's what I did do is watch the original Jurassic Park again and made notes. And honestly, if you sit there with a little clicker and you pressed it every time there was a joke or a bit of humor, it's like every minute or so in that film, there's a little
Mm,
something. And you sort of go, you would never walk out of the cinema and say Jurassic Park's a comedy,
mm,
but it's very funny. There's some very great things in it. And you'd also not necessarily walk out and say it's a horror film, but it's really scary and there's loads of.
mm,
And what I feel like what they did in that movie so well is balanced it all out. It's got stuff in it that's more scary than some of the best horror movies, but because it's got really funny humor and really lovable kind of characters and a sense of adventure and fun and all that stuff, it's all nicely balanced. And so in the middle somewhere is like family adventure, you know what I mean?
yeah.
But really, you go, there's going to be this whole section that's scary as hell, you know, and you're allowed it because there's these funny things. I always felt like every time I made a joke, I got a horror token, and so I was just collecting horror tokens from trying to make the film as funny as it could be here and there, so that we could spend them all. And because now we're all adults, the things that scared us as kids, you got to try a bit harder. And I kept waiting for the studio to tap me on the shoulder and go, you know, you're not allowed to do that. And they didn't. And it's too late now. The movie's done. So
That felt very Wayne Knight of you to do that just
yeah,
then.
yeah.
With I mean talking of like the like I guess the set pieces, like is there a specific scene or like a character beat that you're most proud of where I guess like performance and spectacle aligned in a way that felt like truly unique to your vision of Jurassic World?
Well, yeah. I mean, hope so. Um, it's weird. My favorite bit. There's lots of favorite bits. I really like, and I can't talk about it because it's a spoiler, but I really like the end of the film, like the very end. there's I can't I'll try and talk about it in the least spoilery way. We were in Abbey Road and with Alexander Desplat and basically there's this end music and I said to him, is there going to be a choral bit here, like with choir? And he's like, yeah, 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 we'll do that. And then just time got the better of us and got the better of us. And then they have this ticking clock, and essentially you can't go over because you have to pay 100 people overtime. And so the
Mm.
clock's going, and suddenly there was this moment where it's like, oh, we haven't done the very end bit, the beautiful choral thing, and it hadn't been written either. And we had 10 minutes, and I was like, there's no way he's going to be able to write a score, and we give it to this choir, and they record it in 10 minutes, and he just starts scribbling, and he just like there's all these lines, and I don't understand music, but he's writing sheet music, and he's listening to the classic theme, and he's going, and he's trying to like harmonize with it, and he writes it, and they run it out to the guy who's conducting the choir, and he just shouts out the chords and then to the choir, and none of it makes any sense to me. And they just go, and they just play the thing. They hit record, and it's one of the most beautiful pieces of music I think in the entire movie. And I've grabbed that piece of paper. I saw it and I grabbed it and I'm framing it on my wall at home because it felt like it was kind of a little symbol of our movie, which is when you've got no time and you've got a gun at your head and you can only do your first instinct, it actually can work out, you know. Like this whole movie was done in half the time you normally have to do these kind of films because the release date, and so it
Yeah.
was, I don't know, it was super interesting.
No, that's cool. I mean, I have intentions to see this again, so now I'm gonna actually like I'll pay even more attention to that piece of music. I just wanted to quickly ask, like obviously, Jonathan Bailey's spectacles have become a thing in themselves. I was like, was that your doing? Was that his doing? Like, who gets to take responsibility for the essy little glasses that are going about?
I I I just think it's jealousy. I think there are, you know, I totally understand. I think there's a certain community online that I don't disagree with, where they're just jealous of anything that gets to spend time on Jonathan Bailey's face, and so
Fair.
they're using negative connotations. But I think if he didn't have the glasses and he had a hat, it'd be a slutty hat. You know what I mean? So it I just think he's cursed with this issue of people having sexual thoughts about anything that's touching him. So
Well, I was like, as much as there was the glasses, I'm also gonna say the little mustaches that made appearances in the film, I'm not mad about either. I think they deserve their own, you know, moment as well. So you know, as someone who appreciates Jonathan Bailey, you know, I think we thank you for giving him the glasses and giving him a lead role in like a massive action movie that sort of is, you know, as a gay man myself, it's nice to see someone lead a movie like this and not have his sexuality be part of the character either. Like it was really, really refreshing to see. So I want to thank you for that as well.
well, I would love to take credit. It's totally Jonathan's doing. So yeah, he's a superstar, and I would buy shares in him now if he was selling stock. I think it's just gonna.
No, well, yeah. I mean, I'm assuming this movie is only gonna continue that trajectory, and so I just want to, yeah, thank you so much for this film, for all the other things that you've directed. You have such a keen eye, and like the way that you build worlds and everything always looks so distinct. Like we know that we're gonna get a beautiful looking Gareth Edwards film. So thank you so much.
Uh, Thanks, man. Thank you so much. That means a lot. Cheers.
No worries. Cheers. Thank you.
Thanks. See ya. Bye.